Welcome to my channel. 1. Parties unite against ZEC. Opposition political parties are teaming up against the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, ZEC, ahead of next week's demonstration to demand reforms critical for a credible, free and fair vote on July 30th. The Daily News can report that 5 fringe opposition parties have so far thrown their weight behind the MDC Alliance's demonstration, set for Wednesday next week. These are the National People's Party, NPP, the MDC led by Thokozani Coup, the New Patriotic Front, Build Zimbabwe and Mott Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe heads for crucial polls later this month to pick a new president, members of parliament and councillors in the first election since Robert Mugabe, aged 94, was forced to resign after a de facto military coup. With the make-or-break polls drawing closer, opposition political parties are kicking and screaming, accusing ZEC of attempting to rig the poll in favor of the ruling ZANU-PF party, which has ruled Zimbabwe since independence in 1980. President Emmerson Mnangagwa, the ZANU-PF leader who ascended to the top office last November riding on the military's coattails, is facing a strong challenge from MDC Alliance leader, Nelson Chamisa, who is 35 years younger than him. Citing the urgent need to level the electoral playing field, the alliance, comprising 7 opposition parties, has set Wednesday next week as the date for another demonstration to register its displeasure with the manner ZEC is running the polls. Yesterday, the planned demonstration received the thumbs up from 5 other parties, which have started mobilizing their members to come out in their numbers to support the mass protest, which has the backing of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions, vendors and college students. Gift Nyandoro, spokesperson for the NPP, led by former Vice President Joyce Mujuru, told the Daily News yesterday that they were fully behind the MDC Alliance's call for a demonstration against ZEC. It is clear that ZEC is not committed to delivering a free, fair and credible election because they know that that would be tantamount to signing ZANU-PF's death certificate. So as parties we need to unite against ZEC to force them to ensure there is transparency in the manner the election is run. Hence, we back the efforts by our colleagues in the MDC Alliance as well as any other efforts by other players to achieve the same, Nyandoro said. Nyandoro, however, said Mujuru, who is also leading the People's Rainbow Coalition, was not considering boycotting the elections in the event that their demands are not met. Boycotting is not an option. But we will continue knocking on ZEC's doors. I am not at liberty to discuss our strategy, but I can tell you that we are going to expose ZEC in a big way, he said. Tendai Munyanduri of the New Patriotic Front yesterday called on his party supporters to join the demonstration to stop the lawyers at ZEC from rigging in Mnangagwa's favor. Spokesperson for Cope's party, Linda Mazarira, weighed in saying the electoral management body has failed the test. The election is around the corner and we need to push for minimum reforms and implementation of existing laws so that this year's harmonized elections can have some modicum of credibility, Mazarira said. The fact that the ballot papers are being printed at a government facility and that there is a veil of secrecy on the source of the ballot paper, is a cause for major concern. So we are saying, why is there so much secrecy? She asked rhetorically. Mott Zimbabwe's Secretary for Information and Publicity, Pepu Kibajide, said his party was already mobilizing supporters for the anti-ZEC protest. Nahanda Radio Middle Off Story. We are mobilizing our supporters to demonstrate so that we stop this election if ZEC continues on this path where it is choosing to be arrogant, said Bijide. We are saying we cannot go ahead like this. Why do we rush to elections when we have not put in place mechanisms for a free, fair and transparent election? Bijide said. Build Zimbabwe President, Noah Manyika, told the Daily News of his unhappiness with ZEC yesterday, saying they will take advantage of the demonstration to push for the release of a specimen copy of the actual ballot to be used at the forthcoming polls. Opposition parties are accusing ZEC of working with ZANU-PF to steal the upcoming ballot. They have therefore tabled a number of demands, among them an independent audit of the ballot papers, a clean voters' roll, and that ZEC should do away with military elements within its ranks. It is also being claimed that a random audit of the voters' roll has unearthed scandalous shortcomings, among them the existence of people aged around 150 years, many houses that have tens of people registered and yet the properties do not exist, and people with the same IDs. Last week, Chamaz's chief election agent, James Ntimba, also pointed out that the design of the presidential ballot paper had been designed to benefit Antigua. Ntimba said despite assurances by ZEC that political parties were going to be allowed to observe the printing of ballot papers, parties were only invited to the printers 3 days after the printing had already commenced. Further, no observation was allowed, but instead representatives of political parties were made to watch the printing machines rolling from a distance. This week, Chamaza said unless their concerns are addressed, they will soon be approaching the Southern African Development Community and the African Union to voice their concerns. ZEC chairperson, Priscilla Shigamba, told the state TV this week that all of the 65 political parties must dialogue and come up with a common position on their issues, which would be dealt with by the commission. She said demands by political parties concerning the elections would be resolved through a multi-party liaison committee, adding that the perception that ZEC was a conduit for rigging polls were misplaced, as the elections mother body was simply following legal provisions in handling elections. Shigamba rejected the push to have opposition parties involved in the designing, printing, and distribution of the ballot paper, saying it was ZEC's sole responsibility to do so in terms of the Constitution. Thank for watching. Please, subscribe and share. See you again.